Good evening. Welcome back to our Omid Yom Shir, new parak. So exciting. This parak has a lot to do with Tumah and Tara, and it really teaches you lots of basics of Tumah and Tara. Yeah, you learn a lot preparing for Mashiach to come. It's going to be very Nagya L'Maisa. So the name of the parak is Omar Rabbi Akiva. The common denominator between most of the Mishnahs in this parak is Minayin, 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 Minayin. The parak is telling us how do we know all kinds of things? What are the sources of all types of dinim? Some of them, actually, a lot of them, dinim d'Rabbanon, that have some kind of a smachta, like a remez in the Torah. Yeah. So why is this parak located here? Machlokes Rashi against Tosfos and Ritva. Let's read the Mishnah and then we'll say why is the parak, what does that have to do with Shabbos? That's a machlokes. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Leilu nishmas my father, Menachem ben Akiva. Utlo afuas esta fum vas shana malka besoch shachol yisod. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Minayin lavodizora shemetama b'masa. How do you know that a vodizora is an avatuma? It brings about tuma. It causes tuma b'masa, meaning even if you carry a vodizora without touching it, let's say there's a statue of a vodizora, yeah, a nice, not so nice golden statue in a bag, and you carry the bag without touching the vodizora, we still say that this is considered as you carrying the vodizora. The vodizora is metame, the person who's carrying it, even without touching it, without maga. How do you know that? And this is kenida. The same thing is with a nida. In other words, nida, let's say a person carries his, I had the dugma in my mind, you're a strong guy, you're carrying your 13 years old daughter, she's nida. And you're carrying her on the chair, it's her birthday. You lift her on the chair, you're carrying her in a box, she's lightweight, and then you're not touching her, she's nida. So you become Tomen. You become Rishon Latuma. She's Avatuma. If you carry a nida without touching the nida, you become Tomen. Yeah, why? You learn nida from Zav, and in Zav it says Mufurish. And nida and Zav are prepared. Zav, if you pick up a Zav, yeah, or even a Siso, yeah, you want to do Siso with another guy, make sure the other guy is not a Zav. Nida, your wife is Nida, times of Stamas, you're not allowed to nowadays either, but even Mitzad Tuma, your daughter is Nida. Yeah, so you can't do Siso with your daughter because once you carry her with your weight, yeah, then it's considered as Masa, then you become Tomils. That's why Nidas used to live. We are, which daffer we pay Bezim with Aleph bottom of the page. Bienvenido, pay Bezim with Aleph bottom of the page. How do you know that if a carry of a dezora, it's metama b'masa like a nida? Shenema, because what's the source? How do we know that's true? Shenema, it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya, I saw the pasuk today, Tizrem k'moy dova, se toimer loy. Tizrem k'moy dova, the Mefarshim and the Novi say, lizrois is to throw, like to winnow. You should throw the Avodah. The pasuk describes a statue that has like a lavush, like accessories. Throw away the pesel of a Zara, yeah, as if there was dova. Dova is nida. Throw away the Avodah as if it was nida. Say tomer lo. Say, tell the Avodah, get out of here. That's the pasuk shot of the pasuk. Now dova is nida. It says before the Torah, isha bit dvas nidoso. So the pasuk compares the Avodah to nida. Come sit. We have a chair. Yeah, man nida mitama b'maso. Just like Nida is metama b'masa, so to Avodah is metama b'masa. Now, before we continue, to clear the mist over here, the Pashup Pshat throughout the Sugya is that this is the Rabbanon. In other words, the Tuma of Avodah is not the Oraisa. Rabbanon, they established, obviously, people should stay away from Avodah. In the olden days, it was very, very common Gezerah to say that something is tome, then people stay out of it. It's like today saying there's no hechsher. People can steal and even have kill, but there's no hechsher, you don't touch the food, right? That's the way to go. So once it's tome, people won't touch it. Now, Rabbanon kind of connected the details of the Isser de Rabbanon, not Isser, of the Tumah de Rabbanon of Nida, they connected it to different psukim, such as the pasuk of Avodah connected to Nida, just like this is metame b'masa, of the Zohar is metame b'masa. And who's saying all this? Rabbi Akiva, which means there's another opinion. So Rabbi Akiva says the level of an Isser Tumah D'Rabbanon of an Avodah Zarah is equivalent to Nida, which means not only if you touch it kol shekin, needless to say, shkoyach. If you touch the golden statue that somebody brought from India, you're Tome. You even carry it without touching it, even then you're already Tome, mitumas, like Nida, tumas masa, carrying. What on earth does that have to do with Shabbos? So Rashi says, I told you there are many minan, minan, minan. We're going to see throughout the parak a lot of sources. One of the Mishnahs, bang in the middle, talks about Shabbos. It says, how do you know that a baby on the third day of the Milah, third day after his Milah, you're allowed to wash him in hot water, even if it was warmed on Shabbos? That's all the issue by itself. For the first 3 days, the baby is besukon, sakana. You're allowed to even heat hot water on Shabbos. That we know that from B'Yibay Mishlish, who have a source. Oh, so Rashi says, since we have something to do with Shabbos, so too we start talking about all kinds of minayin, different halachas, what the sources are. Taisus and the Ritva don't accept it, and they say it's only one out of many. Why? Yeah. And they say because the previous Mishnah, if you did your Shabbos homework, the previous Mishnah talks about sources. How do you know about the size of the clay, of the shard, of Cheres? We mentioned sources there. We also mentioned sources over here. Okay, that's. I wanted to defend Rashi. According to Rashi, it makes more sense why this is the Masechet Shabbos. According to the other Rishonim, it's still not connected to Shabbos because the previous Mishnah said something to do with Makor. We're learning not Makor. Right? Yeah. Okay. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Tnan Hosom. This is a very interesting Mishnah that comes to show us two different opinions regarding Tumas Avodah Zarah. It says in the Mishnah Avodah Zarah Daf Mem Zayin, I think Nanosom. Misha is a basis of Avodah Zarah. A person, a nice Jewish boy, built a house. His house happens to share a wall with the base of Avodah Zarah. Why? It's not his fault. He built a house, okay? Then the guy next door built a house adjacent to his house. And now they somehow share a wall. But really the wall belongs to the Jew completely. Okay? But the guy is sharing the wall from the other side, and he made it into a base of a Zorah. And the Jew at the beginning didn't know that. It says it there in the somewhere in the Meforshim. And they found the wall that now is shared between the Jew and the base of the Zorah, but really belonging to the Jew, you're not allowed to rebuild it now. Why aren't you allowed to rebuild it? It's my space. It's my wall, but I do know that they will use the other side. And I guess you can't tell them not to use it. You know, Jews under Goyish ruling, whatever the case is. Yeah, you're not allowed to rebuild it because you're really building a place which you know will be part of Avodah Zarah. And later on, we'll see that even worship the actual wall. It's a base of Avodah Zarah, they worship the wall, not just the mother, whoever. Yeah, they worship the actual wall. So I can't be machti the goyim. You're not allowed to cause the goy to do Avodah Zarah. What should he do? What should you do when he wants to rebuild the wall? It fell apart. What will he do? He has to basically give in Dalad Ames into his property, leave Dalad Ames empty, and build the wall while losing Dalad Ames because he's supposed to stay Dalad Ames from Avodah Zarah. And if they build, it's their problem. I'm not building the common area. I'm building the 4 Ames. 4 Ames, I'm leaving a space. Yeah. And then if they build another wall, it's not my problem. The question of the Gemara over there is the base of a Dazor will surely take hold of that for right. So the Gemara says you do one of two things. You don't completely give up. You either use it as toilet for children. Back to toilet. Why toilet? Toilet is the mokum of bizoyan. And I say it's my property. I'm not using it for anything nice. For toilets, maybe they would move them away, or it shows the bizoyan. Yeah, but basically the daladamas is used for toilets for children, not adults, because adults is not sneers, because the people of the Dazor are next door. Toilets for children, or just fill it up with koitzim v'daldorim. Fill it up with thorns. In other words, these things will make them stay out of there. They won't be interested in taking over a toilet of children or a place full of thorns. That would be like an unpleasant place between the Jew and the base of a Dazara. That's what you should do. Baruch Hashem. Now, Ad Kan, very nice. Here comes fun. Now starts the second part. Base and with base. Oh, now what happened if originally both the wall and the space where the wall is were common property of him and Avodah Zarah? Now, how could a Jew build together with a Zara? As I told you, he originally built it with a nice guy. You know the nice guy, Tim McKenzie. Tim McKenzie all of a sudden became an Avodah Zara. Originally built it with a guy, and then the guy, they said, let's go half-half. Chaim Yankel and Tim McKenzie, they're sharing the wall and the space, all very nice, a nice normal American guy. They went cuckoo, and then what did he do? Now he uses his part of the wall on his side, the guy, to be a base of a Zara, and he's worshiping the wall itself. That's important to, yes, it's not Mishamshim, it's Mamash of a Zara, and now it fell. Oy, 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 that's a much bigger mess. Nidon mechza al mechza. What does it mean mechza al mechza? Because the space under the wall, which is now broken, is half a meter is mine, and half a meter of the Zara. So the Daled Amas have to be measured from the borderline in the middle of the wall. Let's say half an Amma is my part of the wall. I have to now take that half Amma plus another 3.5 Amos, and that's where I should build my wall for my house, and there should be a kiddie toilet or some disgusting thing. Now, Avon of the Eitzav Aforov, that's a big business. What do you do with all the stones? All the stones, all the bricks fell. Boom, the bricks are there falling. They're all metamim kesheretz. They all have the din of a Zara. Why? The guy worshipped the actual bricks. And now, either we're talking here about his bricks that we know belong to him, or even worse, says Rashi, all the bricks were common property of all of us. They're all usher to the Jew, even though he knows he has 50%, but there's a sugi in the Gemara, yesh brera, en brera. He would say en brera. En brera means we don't know how to differentiate or divide, because it's a chumrah of a Zara, and all the bricks are considered as usher. Yeah? Now, the question is that the Rishonim ask, if it fell apart, so the Zara that fell apart is mevutal. He's already annulled. There's no Isra in the Zara. Why do you say it keeps Isra of the Zara? And the answer is because he worshipped each and every brick by itself. So each brick has a separate status of a Zara, and the bricks didn't break. Each one stayed whole. That's one answer. In any event, the kids, all you have to know now, for our sake, is you have a whole bunch of bricks lying all over in your yard, and they have the status of the Zara. You want to go and clear them. Uh-oh. Don't touch the Zara. Wait till Tim McKenzie comes and he deals with it. Don't touch. Why? Metamim kesheretz. Those of a Zara, each one has the status of a full of a Zara. The status of a Tuma is like a sheretz, meaning not like Nida, like sheretz. This opinion argues on Rabbi Kiva of our Mishnah. Shenemar, shoketz sheshaktzenu v'to'ev tetavenu kicherem hu. In Parshas Ekev, it says about the Zara, yeah, you should treat your Avodah Zara like a sheketz. Sheketz is very much like sheretz. In other words, Avodah Zara has the status of a sheretz. Now, sheretz is not metame b'masa. If I take one of the 8 shrotzim, a mole, a lizard, monitor lizard, a gecko, and they're dead, yeah, a frog, and not a frog, no, a toad, a turtle, and they're in a bag, and I carry them, they're not mitame b'masa. Before, what? Frog is not one of the 8. No, actually, the Mishnah, before the Mishnah entires. And people get confused, frog and toad, no. Even Nochash is not mitame. There's the cost of only these 8. But Gemara in Eruvin, Nochash is not mitame. You have to know before we continue, because that's going to be, we're in for a long haul. When you say, I'll tell you a little secret. When people tell you, even the Gemara sometimes, this is a worse humor than the other, don't buy it. Every one of the Avos Tuma has its pros and cons. For example, we always think the dead person, that's the worst Avatuma. No, it's true that a dead is Avos Tuma, and it takes 7 days. On the other hand, if a dead person, a dead body lies on 10 mattresses, is mattress number 10 Toma underneath? No. Only the first, maybe not even the second, unless Chibur, whatever. No. Nida lies on 10 mattresses, they're all Tome. Oh, yes, for sure. Like Zav, Zav, and Nida, absolutely. Okay, here you are. Nida comes into the house. Is the house Tome? No. And Mitzoyro comes into the house is Tome. Every one of the Tumas have one Nikuda of Humra over the others. And that's going to be the game from now on for a few days. Each one has his shtick, his thing of Humra. For example, Nida compared to Sheretz, you carry a Nida in a bag or in a chair, yeah, she's lightweight. Yeah, then what? What do? You become Tomeh. You carry a sheretz, not becoming Tomeh. On the other hand, sheretz has other chumras. We'll see later. Each one has his stuff. So now the question is, when Chachamim established the tumas of a Dezorah, what did they compare it to? Is it comparable to sheretz or is it comparable to nida? Nafkamina la'alocha. Says Tanakama, avoid Zorah is like sheretz. Shaketz tishaktzen v'tevta ta'avenu. Treat it like a sheretz, disgusting. Cherem, you. When I was a kid, I used to walk in Bnei Brak. They always had pashkevilim, the notices. And this was the posuk time and again against television. That was then the issue before internet. The television said shaketz tishaktzen v'tevta ta'avenu. That was always, you remember? Yeah, that was always the thing. So that's why I know this posuk by heart, because I used to see it all the time. Okay, the kitzur, but the original pasuk is about Avodah Zarah. Rabbi Akiva says, Kinida, Avodah Zarah is not like sheretz. It's comparable to nida. Shenema, that's our pasuk. Tizrem kvodova, manu yido mitama b'masa, af Avodah Zarah mitama b'masa. Very good. Just like nida has a chumrah mitama b'masa, so to Avodah Zarah mitama b'masa, you carry a nida. Sure, no, nobody argues on that. You carry Avodah Zarah, it's as if you carried Nida, and you become Tomeh, even without touching. Amar Rabba, that's Machlokes Tanoim. Now Rabba is giving an introduction over here. Amar Rabba, Tizrem de Omar Kro, when the Pasuk says Tizrem, what I told you is the Pasuk Pshat, what's Tizrem? Throw them away. But Rabba is learning a drosha, he says, Tizrem de Omar Kro, Nachrima mincha kezar. Zar, what's a zar? Stranger. You should estrange yourself. Make yourself strange. Make yourself aloof from that like Kizal. Set time aloi. Ikonisal tomerloi. Tell them, Avodah, get out of my life. Don't ever come in. What's this whole verbose thing? Rabbi is coming to explain, says Tosfos. I don't read Tosfos inside now. The second part of the Tosfos Omar Rabba, he says usually when we learn in Dinei D'Rabbanon, we will learn, this is a Yesoid. When you have a din Rabbanan and you try to allege it to some psukim in the Torah, you don't dafka have the Chumrah. Rabbanan not always machmir. You don't find the Chumrah side. Here, Rabbi Akiva is dafka taking the Chumrah side, right? Rabbi Akiva is saying, Avodah Zarah once established that it's Tomeh like Nida, L'Chumrah. Why? Because the pasuk is giving you extra words. The pasuk already said that you have to throw away the zah v'chesef. All these extra words, zah, these psukim show that here the Torah, the Navi, is very serious about being machmir with Avodah Zarah. And that's why we dafka find the machmir common denominator. What? That by carrying you become tomeh. As opposed to the other opinion that learns it from Sheketz. Rabbi Akiva says, no, I learned from the Pasuk about Nida and the Chumrah of Nida of carrying, which makes you Tomeh. Because the feeling of the Pasuk, the general feel of the Pasuk is to be Machmir about Avodah Zarah. And we know Avodah Zarah is always Chumrah. There are lots of Chumras of Avodah Zarah that other Averas don't have. I feel better for Botil. You have a tiny thing of Avodah Zarah, it's not misbatel by a million. Worse than Chometz. V'omar Rabba. Now, Machlokes Amoraim, we're not to explain the Machlokes. Everything I said was true, but not according to Rabbah. What I told you is true according to Rabbi Lazar. Now, let Rabbah speak. We'll see later, Rabbi Lazar. Omar Rabbah. B'masa dekula al maloi pligi demetama diska shlenida. Very good. Says Rabbah. No, really, since we compare the Avodah Zarah to Nida, who's we? The Navi, Yeshayahu. We compare Avodah Zarah to Nida. Definitely, everyone agrees. Both the Nekama and Rabbi Akiva, they all agree that Avodah Zarah is like Nida. You carry the Nida, you become Tomeh. So what's a Machlokes? There's some kind of Machlokes. Kipligi be'even misame. Welcome to another way of becoming Tomeh. Even misame. I'm saying it according to Rashi because I prefer only sticking to Rashi. There's enough stuff going on. Let's just stick to Pshat. Even misame according to Rashi is as follows. Imagine yourself that this plastic cup is a tripod, something like that. There's a stone over here, a heavy stone, yeah? The Nida is sitting on a heavy stone, right? The heavy stone is sitting on metal poles or something like that. And underneath, there's Kalim. Yeah? In other words, she's not sitting straight on the Kalim. The Nida sits on a heavy stone, right? That heavy stone is held by poles. And in the airspace, without touching, the airspace under the stone, there's whatever food, kalim, they become tame from the need being in the airspace. It's similar, but not exactly the same as the need on the 10 mattresses. We all know midoraisa need on 10 mattresses, need on 10 saddles, on 10 chairs. Yeah, this is not the same. It's an airspace under a stone thing. What's the chiddush of stone? The stone is not mekabel tuma. Clay, but not mekabel tuma. And the neither sits on an even, which is not the mekabel tuma. And under the even, you have kalim, they become tome. Wow. Yeah. Even shesamol gevei sedes v'kelim tachter mefurash. Yeah. In other words, lo yichibidu lakalim. Tmei lakalim. The kalim underneath are tome. There's a special drosha. Kol asher yeh tachtov. Rashi says anything underneath, anything under her airspace, without her metame the stone, not the tuma, without her touching the cup underneath, the cup is tome. Wow. That's a chumrah benida. Benida and zav, definitely not the sheretz. If a dead sheretz is on that stone, nothing happened to the thing underneath. Oh, so that's the chumrah of nida, which we're arguing about, the Nekama and Rabbi Akiva. Let's see how it goes. Rabbi Akiva sovar kenida. Rabbi Akiva says, "Avedazor is like nida." So let's say you have this nice, not so nice statue from India. Somebody put the statue on a stone, and under the stone you have your nice Shabbos food. Yeah, is the Shabbos food tome because it's in the airspace under the getchka, under the golden buchka? Yes or no? Machlokes. Says Rabbi Kiva. Yes, it's like nida. Mani da mitame be'even misame. Half of the zort mitame be'even misame. That's Rabbi Akiva. Yes, of the zor is compared to nida. The Rabbanon Savri Kesheretz. Rabbanon say no. Avodah is compared to sheretz in the pasuk in Parshas Ve'ekev. Shaketz shektzenu nida. Excuse me. Avodah is like sheretz. Ma sheretz loy mitame be'even misame. You can have a dead lizard on the even misame, and underneath you have stuff. It's absolutely fine. Very good. So up until now we got Poshup Pshat. What I told you, we'll see later. That's Rablozo. Rabba says that's machlokes. Avodah Zarah over Even Misame with stuff underneath. What's halacha? Depends who you ask. Tanakama says it's comparable to sheretz. No problem, it's fine. Everything under the stone is okay. According to Rabbi Kiva, it's not okay. Why? Because it is like Nida. Just like Nida is metam on the stone, so too is Avodah Zarah. Now, correct the Gemara. Now, what are we going to do now? The obvious question is, each Tana can't ignore the source of the other Tana. Rabbi Kiva can't just say, I like Novi Yeshayahu. What will we do the in Ekev? And all the Pachkivalim in Bnei Brak, my whole childhood was with that pasuk, right? So what do you do with that? Rabbi Akiva, lemay hilchis ha'iskas l'sheretz. When the Torah compares Avodah Zarah to sheretz, lemay hilchisa, which halacha, does it apply to? Answers the Gemara, lim shamsheha. Wow. As we know, Avodah Zarah, unfortunately, besides the actual golden statue, which the people very foolishly think has deity powers, there's all kinds of accessories of how one serves Avodah Zarah, right? For libation, for cooking, for serving. That's called Meshamsha Avodah Zarah. They're also Asur. The Meshamsha Avodah Zarah, the Meshamshim, they're not Metame at all. In other words, the Meshamshim, not Metame at all, excuse me. They're Metame, I'm sorry, like Sheretz. The real deal, the real Avodah Zarah described in Yeshayahu, there's whole picturesque business over there. The real Avodah Zarah, that's a knida, that's a big no-no. The Mishamshim, you have the cooking utensils, whatever they serve in the church or the shtayot in the Eastern religions, all these kalim, the accessories, they are comparable to sheretz. They're metame b'maga, but they're not metame b'masa, and they're not metame b'even misame. That's a Mishamshim. That's Rabbi Kiva learns, which makes sense because that's what Rabbi was saying all along. Rabbi was saying with the Zohar itself, we want to be marchik very much, like you have to really throw it away from you very, very strongly. So must be that with the Zohar, we stay away from very much. That's the Ovi Tuma, so to speak. And the Mishamshim, you learn a lighter Tuma like Sheretz. The opposite now. Now the ping pong. Ule Rabbanon, lema hilchas eiskash lenida. According to Rabbanon, why did you compare it to Nida? Right? Why did the Torah compare Avodah Zarah Nida? If it's Avodah like Sheretz, the Novi? Why did Novi Shayal compare it to Nida? It's not metame like nida. And says Gemara lemasa, easy. According to Rabbah, very good. Don't forget. I don't know if I told you. Well, I did tell you before, and I'll say again. This is actually quite easy. Both masa to carry and even misame to sit on a stone with the airspace, very easy. They're both metame by nida, and neither is metame by sheretz. Very good. So opinions will argue with Rabbi Akiva. They say they're ashamed. Really, for masa, we agree that for masa, but the Zohar is metame by masa. How do you know that? From the pasuk, set toimer loy. Yeah, tizrim kmoidova. Comparing to nida, that masa is metame. We compare it to sheretz to tell me that it's not metame be'even mesame. Very good. Track the Gemara. Now it's simple. Here comes a third avatuma. Yoo-hoo! A third one called nevela. What's the difference between nevela and sheretz? I'll tell you two differences. Sheretz, first of all, are only 8 dead animals. Most are rodents, caterpillar. These, not. I mean, the ones, the tav, the toe, yeah, the lizard, only 8. Nevela is any nevela of mammals, tray for kosher. Yeah, that's nevela. Nevela is not metame b'masa. Excuse me, nevela, sorry, the other way around. Nevela is metame b'masa, right? There's another kula nevela is not metame b'kazais. It's a very big amount. Well, sheretz metame b'kadosh are much smaller. We'll discuss that later. Nevela, let's say you carry a dead anything, a dead cat, a dead goat in the bag. You carry them inside. So what do you say in that case? Why did the Torah have to go like this? We compared it on one hand to Nida. That make us think, wait, if it's Nida, it's like Masa, it's Metame b'Masa, and Be'even Mesame. Then we have to quickly fix the trouble and compare it to what? To Sheretz, to say that it's not Metame b'Masa. Make it simple. There's one avatuma that has both qualities. You know, it's called nevela, regular nevela. It's metame b'masa and not be'even mesame. So instead of saying plus over here and minus over here, finish the story. Why can the Torah give me one balanced makor for nida? The Torah could have made up a pasuk, you know, to compare with the Zara, not belt and a blenu, be like nevela with the Zara. And then I would know the information, right? Or no pashut. It's not metame b'mesama. Metame by carrying. You carry a dead. It happens a lot. A dead rat, a dead rabbit. Yeah, you carry it in a bag. You're metame. Nitma. Answers the Gemara. Enachinami. True, you're right. I could have done that, but I wanted to gain something. Ella, there's a reason why I compared to the Zara to Nida lekula. I told you there's a kula and everything. Which means Nida, let's say chas v'shalom, a woman while she's Nida, she was not careful with a very, very strong kitchen knife or machine, chas v'shalom, and she cut her finger, really cut her finger. Her finger flew off her hand, chas v'shalom, yeah? Then what? Nida, if a person's chas v'shalom finger was disconnected from his hand, it's metame, not exactly like similar to mace. It's called tumas ever minacha. It's metame beoil. You got into an oil, the whole room is tome. Nida may have that, but Nida's finger flying off separately, doesn't have tumas nida. It has a tumor of like every aver. But let's say the finger of the Nida is on 10 chairs, only one is tame, not the others. It doesn't have the special qualities of Nida, of Metame, let's say the special tumas of Nida. It doesn't have that, right? Oh, and therefore, says the Gemara like this. We compared the Vodazara to Nida on purpose. Why? Manida ena levorin. Just like one organ of Nida is not Metame like Nida, but Stam every Menachai. After Vodazara ena levorin, what happens? A person has a statue. You shouldn't have one, yeah? That, I don't know, your Vodazara neighbor brought in a Vodazara, and it has organs. It's a statue. Yeah, and a finger was cut off from the Avodah It has a din of Avodah but it's not metame. Avodah shel chudas ein metame klal mishum Avodah at all. Yeah, it has din of a dezora. In other words, only when you mevatel the whole of a dezora. In other words, mevatel of a dezora, by the way, only of a dezora of a goy can be misbatel. Yeah, either you smash it to smithereens or you show a lot of bizoyin. You put it through the mud or you smash its face. What? Put it in toilet. In toilet, but mom is strong in a way that's not. No, to just throw mud is not enough. There are certain ways. Yeah. Oh, but if you cut one finger nicely, let's say doing refurbishment on the Zara, they're not mizvazit, they're not annulling it. They just cut off a finger from it. It's osir. It's still osir to evano from. It's also to worship it avada. But mitzad the tuma, it doesn't have tuma. That's a chiddush. That's how we compare the tunida lekula. What? Absolutely. Thank you for finishing me off. Very good. And Nevela, even a kazais from Nevela, a nice square kazais Nevela is metame, 100%. That's a cool of Nevela, actually, in a way, because I said not a dosh. We'll see later. Very good. Interestingly enough, what?
Reattach the finger surgery. Seriously.
What?
The fingers cut off doesn't mean it's like dead tissue. They can do sophisticated surgeries to reattach it. So the question is,
When I was a bocher, we were in camp, and the bocher mamash he used the machine bread, the cutting machine, to cut bread, and he cut his finger. The boys were very helpful, very resourceful, and they reconnected. Not they called the medics, and they with the operation managed to reconnect it. Yeah, they operated and they reconnected the finger. Yeah. Interestingly, and if a desire of a yid cannot be misbattled unless you smash it mamish. A yid, once he decided to have a desire, is more serious about it. So more of a desire, you can't just be mivatel it by showing something or doing something symbolic. Ve'ela. Okay, very nice. Practic more now. Then let's just summarize. So now, let's summarize. According to Rabbah, how do you explain Mechlokes Tanoim? Everyone agrees that neither is metam. Excuse me. If a desire is metam b'maga, it's even not on the cards. Simple. Everyone agrees metam b'masa. That's a chiddush of Rabbah. The only Mechlokes is Evan Mesame, right? Tanakama holds Evan Mesame. It's not metam of a desire like Sheretz. While Rabbi Kiva says it is metame like neither and Evan Mesame, right? And the Ivarim, that's an issue. Yeah, that's besides. The other opinion would say in metame le'Ivarim. Very nice. The Ela had the boy Rav Chama Baguria. The question is, we know that Rav Chama Baguria had a question. He has a question as follows. What was his question? By Rav Chama Baguria, Avedazor yeshna le'Ivarim or ena le'Ivarim? Rav Chama Baguria asked the question: does Avedazora, one organ, so to speak, one part of the Avedazora, the finger of the statue, is a metame or not metame? What's the question? Right? In other words, Mela, according to Rabbi Kiva, wouldn't touch on the subject. According to Rabbanon, clearly it's not metame. Remember? According to Rabbanon, what's the whole comparison of Nida to Avodah Zarah? Only one point, that it's not metame levarim. So according to Rabbanon, the question doesn't exist. The whole vort and Mefurish Pasuk in Yeshayahu comparing Nida to Avodah Zarah is to tell you what? To tell you that avorim is not metame. So what's his question? Answers the Gemara. Rav Chama Baguria libda bekiva ba'ila en chinami. Rav Chama Baguria didn't ask it according to Chachamim. He asked it according to Rabbi Kiva. According to Chachamim, clearly one finger, one toe, one ear from the golden statue from India. Clearly, nothing happened. Not metame, because that's the whole idea. Why you compare it to Nida B'chlal? Otherwise, what's the pasuk there for? The Shenken, according to Rabbi Kiva, it's a very good question. We don't know. Because Rabbi Kiva doesn't have a source, but maybe he agrees to them from another reason. We don't know. It's a good question. Ad Kana Kofa Aleph, there was Rabbah. Now we have another Amoira arguing on Rabbah, and that's not new for you. Because the way I explained to the Sigi before is exactly what you're going to see now. The Rabbi Elazar, the Amoira, not Rabbi Elazar the Tana. Rabbi Elazar the Amoira. Rabbi Elazar, Omar. Rabbi Elazar is giving a different interpretation to Mechlokes Tanoim. Everyone agrees Evan Mesama is not Metama. Which one? Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah and Rabbanan established the Tuma. They're not. Evan Mesama is too far apart. It's not Metama Lekula Alma Avodah Zarah. We don't compare it to Nida in that sense. Keep ligi. What's a Mechlokes? B'masa. As I told you, B'masa. In other words, when you carry the Avodah Zarah, your neighbor gave you a bag with Avodah Zarah, you want to throw it away in the garbage. Yeah, you want to bury it, you want to burn it, but you're carrying it in the bag. Is it or is it metame you? Do you become tame? Rabbi Akiva soba kenida. Mani the metame b'masa. After the zar metame b'masa. That's Rabbi Akiva. To compare it to nida. Nida is metame. If you carry a nida in a bag, it's metame you. If see so. So too the Avodah the Rabbanon savri kisheretz. Rabbanon says it's a kisheretz. Ma sheretz lo metame b'masa. After the zar lo metame b'masa. Very good. In other words, sheretz is not metame b'masa. One of the eight shmona shrotzim not metame b'masa. Okay, so to the zar is not metame b'masa. Frag the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, and L'mayil Chesed Kash L'Sheretz. According to Rabbi Akiva, why did the Torah compare to sheretz? Sheketz to shektzenu teftet avenu ki cheremu. Right? What did it compare it for? Yeah, lemeshamsheho. The mishamshem of the zara. They are not metame. Metame may be b'maga, but not metame b'masa. Yeah, they're not metame b'masa. It's like nida. Who's like nida metame b'masa? The Zora. The mishamshim, which are also you will learn Masechta of the Zora. They're always like they're not as bad as the Zora, right? They're utensils for the Zora, accessories. So they are one level less. They were compared to sheketz to shektenu, and also it's mashma. I think I saw in the Ritza, I saw somewhere that really the context of the psukim there sheketz shektenu may sound more like mishamshim. I don't remember, but yeah. The Rabbanon l'mayil chaseis kash lenida. According to Rabbanon, why did you compare the Zor to nida? It's not true. Why we compare it what to sheretz? That it's not metame b'masa. So why did the Novi Shayo compare it to the nida? Same answer. Very nice. Just like nida is not metame at all. When it's just the nida's the nose chalila was cut off, whatever, with a kazais basar from the nose. What do you say? It's not a surgery. Surgery. She had the nose job. Yeah. They cut off her nose. Yeah. It's not metame benida. Metame, but not benida. Not the special nida. Soto but the Zara's nose that was cut off is not metame levolim. As we said, very similar to what we said before. The difference is that Evan Misame is out of the picture. Okay? Okay. Now, yeah, we can continue a little bit. The Rabbi Akiva, lema hilchasa iska shlenida. According to Rabbi Akiva, why did we compare it to nida le masa? This is right. This is a rhetorical question. Why did we compare? What's her name of a Zara to nida? What do we gain by that? In other words, had you compared the Zara to sheretz, metame be maga, not be masa. So the Novi is telling me, don't get me wrong, Avodah is so bad, it's a knida lemasa, right? Frag the Gemara, look shel nevela, right? Compare it to nevela. Like we asked before about Chachomim, now about Rabbi Akiva. Why do we have to get into trouble comparing to sheretz, then getting the wrong picture about, that it's tohar b'masa? No. Nida is yes metame b'masa. Keep it simple. Nevela is a great girl. Nevela is a great source. Metame b'maga, b'masa, finished. Very nice, right? Look shel nevela, b'masa, excuse me, metame b'masa, excuse me. Why am I making this? Nevela is metame b'masa. I'm making this mistake all the time. I'll tell you why. Because nevela is always more chomor in another thing. So no, I'm sorry. Nevela is metame b'masa. Nevela is metame b'masa. So why do you have to compare it to sheretz, which is not metame b'masa? And then quickly tell me it's like nida yes b'masa. Just compare it to one thing. Compare it to nevela, which is metame b'maga ubemasa. Finished. One source, one stop shop. Nevela, nida. They'll both start with nun. Very nice. Nevela, nida. This is maga and masa. So too, Avodah Zara is maga and masa. Finished. Why do you have to do both? Answers the Gemara in the Chinami. True. Ela ma nida in a levorin, Avodah Zara in a levorin. Very nice. As we said before, we're saying the same thing now in Rabbi Akiva, not in Chachomim. We're something special in Nida, a special kula in Nida, which very nicely Reb David was pointing out. This is not true about sheretz or nevela. Sheretz and nevela, a sheretz, even adosha is metami. You know what's adosha? Adosha, grease. Grease is if your wife finds on a beged grease about 18 to 22 millimeters, that's grease. A sixth of it, if I'm not mistaken, very small amount, is adosha. It's a very small amount. Yeah, it's like a small circle. That amount of dead toad you found, metame. Wow. Nevela because ice, much bigger but still small. Nida, no. Nida, a piece of Nida is not Metame Benida. So Nida has a kula actually, funnily enough. I told you, they all have one kula, one chumrah. Nida has a kula, not Metame Bevorim. That's why we compare Avodah to that. Avodah Zarah and Elovorim. The Avodah Zarah is not comparable to Evorim. Very good. Not comparable. If the Zohar is not Metam Bevorim, one figure of the statue, of the golden statue, is not Metam Bevorim. I would like to continue because this is connected, but I have to prepare myself for Ma'ariv. Yeah. So we're holding the word Ella. Pegim al down of the word Ella. Okay, we're going to get more and more into it. You'll become all PhD in Tumah B'Tayra. Atzlacha Bracha. Thank you to everyone who watches. We have now on Torah Anytime as well, the Shurim and on YouTube. Tell all your friends and family. Thank you. Atzlacha. Shkoyach. Thank you. May we have a good week. Mashiach soon.
Where's the Mishnah that says the different types of in the Keturah? Which Mishnah is that?
It's a first apostle.
Oh,